I thought I'd share with you my favorite trick of how to prioritize things individually, but also in teams. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Patrick Stahl. I teach leadership and self-leadership. I'm the lead trainer of Perfect Life. Now, what about prioritization? Well, we have to prioritize a ton of things at work, at home, in our personal lives, in our teams, in our projects. And one of my favorite ones is something called the Eisenhower matrix. Now, I'm doing this in one take, so if I mess things up, which I sometimes do with this one, because it's a tongue twister, but if I mess it up, I'm sorry, I'll apologize, but here's how it works. Now, whenever you have to prioritize something, you have to figure out if it's important or not important, and if it's urgent or not urgent. Now, this forms a matrix. Now, some of you know it as the Eisenhower matrix, and some of you probably heard about it as the Covey matrix. And usually there's a group of people who always say, oh, it's the urgent important matrix. Yes, whatever you call it, this is how it works. Things can be either important or not important. Easy. Same things are usually either urgent or not urgent. So you can look at whatever you do or should be doing at the office, at home, and you can ask yourself, which quadrant does this belong to? So, for example, there could be a lot of firefighting that I do at the office. I take care of crises, situations that are urgent, they're in your face, and they are right now, right here. So they are important and urgent. That's quadrant one. Quadrant one is reactive. This is super important. Reactive means that you react to a situation. Now, could you have done the work better if you had some heads up and some ideas about, this could be presenting as a problem, as an acute problem. So could we do something in advance? Now that would be in quadrant two, when it's important, but it's not urgent yet. So important and not urgent, that's quadrant two. The more time you spend there, the more proactive you can be in your leadership style, in your teams, in your home life. Now, this is an important divider because most of the stuff that is important but not urgent, give it some time and you realize it comes back and it bites you in the face, or it bites you, and it becomes urgent and important. For example, exercise. We know that it's important to exercise. Eating healthy. We know it's important to eat healthy. But is it urgent? No. You can always think that, yes, this is super important, but now it's Christmas. And exercising and eating all that healthy food, I'll better start with that after New Year's. Okay, so that's classic procrastination. This is human, but we have to be aware that there are so many things in quadrant two that we could be doing proactively that will have a great impact. And if we neglect it, production planning, building relationships with people in our team, strategy work, if we neglect it when it's not urgent, the shit will hit the fan and it will be quadrant one, urgent, important. Someone will be standing with papers or a document in your office saying, why did we drop the ball on this one? So it's better to ask yourself, what do we have in quadrant two, me as a person or we as a team? And then proactively start working on that, because we know it's important. It's just not urgent right now. The reason people don't address these things is because quite often they are firefighting. They're running around putting out fires, and they have no idea that they could perhaps prevent some of these fires if they were working more proactively with things that are super important but just not that urgent. Now, there's a whole new layer down here, stuff that is not important, and it could be urgent, it could be not urgent. Here, well, what I want you to do is to just be kind on yourself. Be kind on the people in your team. If someone is having a to-do list, a monster to-do list that perhaps you've given them, and you come back after an hour and they are still updating their social media, it could be a stress reaction, a response to too much pressure. So be kind to people, because it could also be you who are doing stuff that is not important and not urgent because on some level you're just overwhelmed with your task. So be nice to each other. Number 3, when it's urgent, but you define it, and this is important, you define it as not important. To whom is this important? Why is this on your desk? Why did this plop into your lap? If it's urgent, yes, it's someone saying that we need to do this now. But maybe you quickly reflect and say, I get the urgency, but this is really not important. That's when you probably need to have a conversation. Why is this important to you? Because to me, it's not important. And if that's a really tough conversation, maybe you can ask them to clarify. Help me understand how this is part of my job description. Help me understand why this needs to be done today. Or help me understand why this needs to be prioritized. Or help me understand what else I should deprioritize. And then, if you have this one, very easily you can just steer the conversation to, please help me understand what's the stuff that I remove so that I can do this for you, which is clearly urgent and important to you, but to me, it's just urgent. It's not that important. See what I mean? It's a tongue twister. You have to remember if it's urgent, not urgent, important, not important. So, this is also a super good exercise to do with your team. Put this nice on a flip chart or on a whiteboard and ask yourself, we as a team, what do we have in these 4 different quadrants? What kind of fires do we always have to put out? And what can we do proactively that is important, just not that urgent? What can we do proactively to prevent these fires from showing up? And what's the stuff that we never have time for, even though we all agree that it's important? Quadrant 2. What's the stuff that is important to someone else, but to us it's just an urgent task require? What's something that we perhaps should have a conversation with that other group or team or function about? And also, what's the stuff that we sometimes do in our team that is not important and not urgent, that is just quadrant 4, it's a waste of our time? Is it us procrastinating? Is there perhaps a smarter way to recover after a stressful time? Is there something we can do to avoid doing these tasks? Can we ask for help? Can we delegate? So, that's the Eisenhower matrix, or sometimes known as the Stephen Covey matrix of urgency and importance. If you like this kind of stuff, please subscribe to this channel. I'm Patrick. See you soon.